Mountains to Sea Trail, doing another day hike, kind of a shakedown hike. Potentially have quite the adventure coming up if all my plans go correctly. Maybe doing the Appalachian Trail, still deciding on northbound or southbound, but kind of leaning towards southbound at this point just to save some time. Out here and trying what I would be taking with me. Got the LiteAF 30, the fanny pack hip belt. I've got the new LiteAF 12-foot tarp, and a lot of people think that it's super massive, but it fits right here in the back pocket just fine. And it's actually horizontal, so it's actually really small. We've got about 3 days worth of food loaded up in here. So total pack weight right now is about 18 pounds, and that's assuming what I would generally carry everything if I took on the thru hike. And we're just testing out to see what happens and if this is viable for a full southbound Appalachian through. How did this happen? How did the Appalachian Trail come up in my views whenever I said I was just gonna do some small trips this year, like the Linville Gorge and just the recent meetup I had with Jeremiah Stringer and Miyagi and some of the other guys that live in Kentucky. We went out to the Sheltoe Trace. But how did the AT come into view? Well, my girlfriend, Katie, lovely lady, decided she wants to go back to school for 5 months. So I figured 5 months time, I could do something useful, and she suggested, oh, you should go for a hike, and you should do a long one because you've always wanted to, and you have the perfect opportunity because we're not struggling for time, money. We don't have any kids, at least not yet. We're comfortable where we live, and everything's just kind of in a good spot. Everybody else in my family seems to be pretty supportive, but a little skeptical. And yeah, I only have a few months to plan, but with all the resources nowadays, it's really not that hard to do. Being committed and staying consistent seems to be the key factor in this whole process. And I generally don't have an issue with that when it comes to anything I do. I try to dive in head first, and it just seems like the right time. My workplace seems to also believe that this opportunity is something I shouldn't pass up, and making sure that if I would like to do this, I could have plenty of time off. My average hike time currently in the Blue Ridge Mountains around Asheville, because I'm putting in 20, 25, 30 mile days, depending on weather and terrain. So I don't think an issue would be getting under 100 days as long as I keep consistent with my plan. Not spending as much time in towns is a minus to some. So out here today on the Mountains to Sea Trail, just doing another day hike, and I got some gear to test out and show you guys. I remember last time I was showing you a hammock that I got from Simply Light Designs. It was a netless hammock, and I matched that up with the Sheltoe topper, and I really like that setup. But today I have another setup. I got in touch with the guy from Trailheadz Designs. I'll put a link in the description and a little logo right here. But I wanted something a little bit lighter. I kind of like ultralight stuff, it's just me. So it comes out to 9 ounces. 9 ounces for a full bug netted hammock. It's made out of monolite, which is a pretty thin material, but as long as you're delicate with other composites like DCF or any other material, monolite's technically a mesh material. It's a grid style mesh, and it's got the most odd feeling I've ever felt out of any material next to Dyneema, of course. We got another tarp to test out today. I did pick up the LiteAF 12-foot tarp with doors and DCF, and I got in touch with Chris and I said, hey, I got a hammock hang that I got invited to, a little trip out into the Sheltoe Trace Trail with Miyagi, Trips, Flash, his name's Carp Attack on Instagram, and as everybody knows, Jeremiah Stringer. Goofy man. We had a great time. Spent a few days out on the Sheltoe Trace, and got winds upwards of 40 miles an hour, and fell in love with the hammock setup. I'll tell you what, man, I've been always a tarp and bivvy style guy, using a Hyperlight Mountain Gear flat tarp and a bivvy that I had from Bora Gear, and switched out to a bivvy from MLD. I got the super light, but man, the recovery that you get from a hammock is pretty amazing. Other than that, I'm also seeing how this new microphone works from, I don't know if it's Comica or Comica, or I'm not sure, but I was looking for a microphone that wasn't overly large, but I wanted something that would pick up a good sense of audio for me. I know a lot of people use the Rode Mic Mini or Lite, but this one's a little bit larger. I just wanted to make sure that I wouldn't have any issues at all testing out a new microphone, because I guess the biggest key thing that I was hearing from Miyagi and Jeremiah compared to their amazing videos, I gotta learn how to edit like them. Oh my goodness, Miyagi, you blow my mind with your editing, is just better audio. I've kind of got the setup down. I use a Samsung S10e. It just seems to be the smallest phone with the biggest camera, and kind of toyed around the idea of getting a DJI Pocket Osmo, but I just want to carry one device just to film on and take pictures on. And I mean, it's all subjective when it comes to cameras anyways, but I'd rather not have to stress and worry about having a massive camera setup that weighs like 2 extra pounds. So I think the Moment lens with the S10e and the new mic from Comica, I'm just gonna call it that, seems to be the best setup. And I'll put some links to a couple of the stuff that I'm using. Obviously I've got a UltraPod too, everybody uses those, but let's see how this new gear setup works. I got tons of gear and I'm just really excited about this stuff. I know a lot of people have their favorite company, but Chris at LiteAF he's changing the game when it comes to innovation. I mean, just his work, and I'm pretty sure you guys may have already seen the Shill Brothers Outdoors. They did a kind of like a podcast style video with Chris, and he's just got a lot of experience, and I trust his work, so that's why I like using it. I mean, I've got a history of using a bunch of different gear. Started with the Osprey backpack, moved down to a Gossamer Gear Kumo. Decided it was too thin for my liking, so switched out to another company called Rye Mountain Gear. They make a like a mountain flyer style pack, but his shoulder straps are really cool. And then I got bit with the LiteAF bug and bought a 30 liter, which is what I got right here. And I prefer the 30 liter. I just like a thinner back. It's a slimmer design. I'm a tall boy, so. And then I picked up a 35 liter just to be safe, but I may end up selling the 35 liter and switching it out for the 40 with a frame. I like a frame backpack depending on the weight. Absolutely love hiking on cold days when you can see the frost on the ground frozen in this crazy look right here. Almost looks like frost hair. It's pretty awesome. So I hiked out to this lake out here. Can't exactly remember the name of it. I don't come to this area too often, but it's right off the side of the Mountains to Sea Trail. This is a beautiful area. Where I'm going to test out the new tarp and hammock setup. We're going to test it out right over there. But we're going to go down to this lake and see how frozen it is. It's about 29 degrees out right now. Maybe right around 31 depending on time of the day. But still good enough for shorts. Got no issues with shorts. So this is the LiteAF Curve 30. Got it loaded up with everything I would generally take on a any major hike. I mean, the only thing that I would supplement anything else would be food. But I think I got about 18 pounds right now. 4 days worth of food, 2 liters of water, hip belt, but Galaxy design, gray DCF. Love this color. I'm glad that I was able to get the Galaxy with the gray. It's my go-to style right here, but no frame at all. Here's just a quick look at the Galaxy print with the gray DCF, fully loaded. It's a 30 liter, not the 35. We got it all set up right here. I'll do a pack breakdown shortly, and we'll see everything that I take on my hikes, but pretty minimal setup here. So this is the LiteAF 12-foot tarp with doors. I said door, goodness. And the custom little bag that Miyagi on the trail made for me, and this thing's pretty awesome. So in this front zip right here, I've got all my ridgeline setups that I generally take. Currently I'm switching out from the Dutchware continuous to the loop alien with toggles. Got that with the LiteAF Tarp, and I had some slippage with the Dutchware, so I'm going to test this one out and see if it holds any better with these toggles and with these loop aliens right here. They seem pretty easy to set up, so I can't wait to figure out this. I've got my 15-foot white 1.4 gram per feet Dyneema Beckett hitch straps with a Myers Tech soft shackles, just a 7/64 am steel right there. So it's just kind of like my go-to beaners. If you've ever seen Frozen Outdoors' Evo loops, this is an Evo loop. So I got the loop alien all set up and strung up, going down to the toggle tie out, all the way down to the other toggle tie out, and the anchor point. This is the LiteAF 12-foot tarp doors with the alien loop ridgeline up here. And I've got the Dutch hookworms on here, just tied out to the ends. So the one really cool thing I was happy that Frozen and Chris at LiteAF did was they did this 16-degree angle on the tie-out point, and it just makes sense to angle your tie-outs. They've got quite the stitching going on right here too, but it just pulls everything out, stretches it out just nicely. So here's the LiteAF 12-foot DCF tarp with doors, all guyed out with Dutchware's hookworms, loop alien ridgeline right across the top. So underneath of this, you get tons of room. Got plenty of room for your suspension to come through here. This is a 0.51 Dyneema. So I've got it in a pretty narrow setup right here. Obviously, I'm just at a weird angle on the downhill. If I wanted to pull it out a little bit more, I could just pull that out, pull that side out. So I got the doors pulled in on the inside. And this is probably one of the first videos of these hammocks right here. This is a Trailheadz design monolite with a 0.5 bug net. This tarp is 7 ounces. This hammock is 9 ounces. And it's made out of a see-through material called monolite. And when I was reaching out to the owner, I told him I wanted a blue monolite end cap with all black on the bottom. And the name of this hammock is called the Wraith. It's known as the Trailheadz Designs Wraith. And if you want to talk about an ultralight setup, this thing is almost as light as doing a ground setup, even if I factor in an under quilt and a top quilt. One thing about this hammock being that it's completely see-through is the beautiful views you get through this. And I'm just hanging out. You know, for being super fragile, this thing's awesome. The only thing I'm a little worried about would be the 0.5 bug net right here. So here's the Trailheadz Designs Wraith monolite blue end caps, black body with the Hammock Gear Phoenix underquilt rated at 20 degrees with 950 fill power. It's the underquilt that I decided I like to use. Inside I've got the Katabatic Gear Flex 22 as the top quilt. Pairing those two up is a pretty light design there, and other than that, I mean, this could be one of the lightest hammock setups I've ever seen. But this is pretty damn comfortable, man. A lot of people would say that monolite is super drafty, but as long as you have an underquilt that can keep up with it and a top quilt that'll keep you warm, I think it's a pretty viable setup. I mean, considering people would use tarps and bivvies, it's just as drafty, but I believe being off the ground can elevate your legs and give you a little bit more recovery. So that's what I was going after. I like to do some big mile days, 20 to 30 miles, so as much recovery as I can possible would be perfect. But overall, I think this is one of my favorite setups. So I guess the last feature I should show about the Trailheadz Wraith is it's only a 3/4 zipper. So it's not a full zipper. It's about from here to about here. So what that gives me is this whole area up here and the whole backside of this hammock is sewn in. So I actually don't have the weight of a full zipper. And for me, that's perfect, because I just like to slip right in, get some sleep, wake up, keep going. And I'm loving this underquilt too. Had a lot of worries about doing a 3/4 being 6'2", but well, there's the name of the lake I couldn't remember. Lake Powhatan, or Powhatan, whatever you want to call it. It's that way. Not really too sure what that is. Kind of looks like a bunker. It's got a chimney open there. If anybody knows, just let me know. It's like a circular design. There is the Mountains to Sea Trail on the Blue Ridge Parkway. Right up through there.